tell you what you need to know. This is called the Mask of the Red Death. And the word mask here is a ball where you are actually wearing a mask. Okay, so maybe something more like this would be appropriate. Hello, I'm Rodotutin the Mask. All right. And Edgar Allan Poe is playing, maybe this one would be better. Hello. Edgar Allan Poe is playing on the Black Death. Okay, and you've heard about that. That's the plague. All right, well, he's pulling from way back in yesteryear because that wasn't really a thing when he's writing this. But he's calling it the Red Death instead. Insinuates blood, obviously, kind of a richer, scarier image. So he has the Red Death, like the plague, terrorizing the countryside. And everybody's dying. And so this really wealthy man says, you know what? I don't want to die. So I'm going to host this really fancy mask, a masquerade, a ball where everyone wears masks in my really fancy mansion. And we're just going to shut the doors, lock ourselves in here, let everybody else die of the Red Death out there, but we'll be safe. And so that's his plan. So he invites all these wealthy people, all his wealthy friends to come hang out. Let's have a mask. Let's have a party. And everybody will die outside from the sickness and we'll just live it up in here. Well, he has one uninvited guest. It turns out in this story that Death himself comes to the ball. And I'll let you find out what happens. So craziness. It's never good whenever Death shows up to a masquerade. A couple things to note. Well, one big thing. All of the rooms that are described in this home are different colors. So notice the imagery. Lots of criticism has been written about each room symbolizing something different because of their colors. Also pay attention to time and references to time in this story. So that's really interesting too. Anyway, enjoy your Edgar Allan Poe.
Hello, my name is Greg Buswell and I'm one of the curators working on a forthcoming exhibition of Gothic literature being held at the British Library. One of the key figures in the exhibition will be Edgar Allan Poe, and in particular I'm hoping to highlight one of his most brilliant short stories, The Mask of the Red Death. The Mask of the Red Death tells the tale of Prince Prospero, a nobleman safe, or so he believes, in his fortified abbey, while the Red Death, a devastating plague, rages across the landscape outside. Prospero holds a masquerade for his guests, the costumes of which are flamboyant in the extreme. As Poe comments, the masquerade features much of the beautiful, much of the wanton, much of the bizarre, something of the terrible, and not a little of that which might have excited disgust. The revels take place in 7 opulently furnished rooms, each decorated in a different colour: blue, purple, green, orange, white and violet for the first 6, and black, illuminated by a scarlet light, for the 7th. Due to the disturbing colour and atmosphere of the final room, few of the guests dare to venture within its walls. The last room also contains a tall ebony clock that strikes the hours, causing the revellers to periodically pause and reflect upon the horrors of the plague outside. As the clock chimes midnight, Prospero notices a disturbing figure amongst his guests, a figure in a blood-spattered funeral shroud. Disgusted by this outrage, Prospero pursues the figure through the rooms where the masquerade is taking place and finally confronts him in the 7th room. When the figure turns to face him, Prospero realises that he is in the presence of the Red Death himself, the fortified walls of the abbey ultimately proving to be of no use in keeping death at bay. Prince Prospero and his guests succumb to the disease, dying one by one, and in the story's closing words, darkness and decay and the Red Death held illimitable dominion over all. The story has a particularly strong Gothic feel, with the castle, the plague-ravaged landscape, the flamboyant masquerade and the opulently and bizarrely decorated rooms, each with a different dominating colour. The clock, which strikes the hours, adds a haunting reminder of mortality,